Hi everyone, this is Shivam. Welcome to my channel Clouds and DevOps Crafted. We just finished our first series, Kubernetes Without Fear, where we focused on fear, mistakes, debugging, and YAML. Now we are starting a brand new series, and this series is called How Kubernetes Thinks. Because once you understand what's happening inside the cluster, Kubernetes stops feeling random. So today we are answering a very simple question. What actually happens when you run a kubectl apply command? From the outside, it feels magical. You write YAML, you run one command, and a few seconds later, your app is running. But Kubernetes is not magic. It's a control system. So let's head to the presentation section and we'll deep dive into this. So kubectl command creates a chain reaction. kubectl sends a request, API server receives it, etcd stores the desired state, controller manager notices something has changed, and they react. Nothing happens instantly. Kubernetes always reacts. Let's start at the beginning. When you run a kubectl apply command, it doesn't create pods, it doesn't schedule containers, neither it touches nodes. It just sends a request to the API server. That's it. The API server is the front door of the cluster. Every request goes through it. It validates the YAML file, checks for permissions, and if everything looks correct, it accepts the object. But still, it doesn't run anything. Once accepted, the API server stores your desired state into the etcd in a key value pair format. Then something important happens. Controller constantly compares what's the desired state versus what's the current state. Controller always compares what should exist versus what actually exists. If something is missing, controller manager fix it. That's the reconciliation loop. Now let's head on to the demo section and we'll see this in action. So here I already have a deployment file. Let's go ahead and explore this one. We can see here the type is deployment. The name of the deployment is my test deployment. It has two replicas and it is running an Nginx image. So let's go ahead and apply this deployment. Let's go ahead and apply the deployment file using kubectl apply command. But do keep a watch on the second git bash tab here. You see here our deployment got created. At this moment, kubectl job is done. And after that, our deployment got created. Now let me run another command, which is kubectl get replica set. And let me run kubectl get pods also. Notice the order. Deployment appears first, replica set appears second, and then finally the pod appears. This explains the chain reaction where we didn't create the replica set manually. We didn't even create the pods manually. Controller did that for us. Now let's do a describe on our deployment. Let's look at the events here. It says scaling replica set, scaled up replica set my test deploy this from 0 to 2. These events shows the timeline of what happened in the background the moment we applied our kubectl apply command. So when you run a kubectl apply command, you are not launching containers, but you are declaring the desired state. And Kubernetes keeps trying to match it. Now let me try to delete one of these pods and make sure you keep an eye on this git bash tab. Let me copy one of the pod names. You see here, even though we deleted this pod over here, a new pod automatically got created. This happened because the controller manager noticed something is missing and recreated it. That's reconciliation. Now you have seen the chain reaction. kubectl sends a request, API server receives it, etcd stores it, and controller managers then reacts. But still, there is one piece missing. After the controller manager creates the pod, how does it decide on which node does it had to run? Who actually starts our container? And who pulls the image? That's what I'm breaking down in the next video. And once you understand that, Kubernetes will feel even more logical. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, keep learning.